in an alcohol-saturated culture that often looks at wine o'clock as a way to sort of unwind after a long day. But we're learning that that tradition can actually sign signals of trouble.
Yeah, that's true. A new report published by the CDC found that alcohol-related deaths, they're on the rise, and the problem is even more prevalent among women. Joining us now is licensed clinical social worker Kitley. Kelly, thank you for being here with us. We want to put that figure up back for a second and talk about the spike in alcohol consumption. Talk about the role the pandemic played in all of this, and have you seen it continuing to be an issue?
Good afternoon, Morgan and Vicki. Thank you so much for having me on. I have seen just in my practice such an increase in alcohol being used as a way to cope and self-medicate. Since the pandemic, a lot of moms especially have felt the emotional labor of holding space for their kids while they're navigating maybe their own job, as well as navigating their children's schooling. And so oftentimes women are turning to alcohol because they're feeling a little bit of an increased irritability to take the edge off. But really, it's doing the opposite. It might provide temporary relief, but it actually has a long-term problem.
I love your point there about that distinction between what is short-term and long-term. But I guess the underlying question then becomes, are women actually more prone to alcoholism like the study suggests? And if so, why is that the case?
Sure. So women have a tendency to have alcohol hit them harder and faster. And oftentimes it is a way for people to connect. You know, there's this huge mommy culture that has really increased the drinking among women as a way to manage so many different stressors that women are feeling. Mommy wine juice, mommy o'clock. And really it normalizes that we need to drink in order to parent.
Yeah, you're right. And there's a lot of marketing targeting moms and women as well. What are some of the signs that your drinking may be becoming more problematic, that you need to address it?
So it's important to recognize that a lot of drinking over the pandemic has been habitual, that we're not even thinking about it. We come in from work, we pour a glass of wine, and it just becomes something that is routine. So recognizing that if you're having more increased irritability, preoccupation with thinking about drinking, experiencing any kind of hangovers or increased anxiety, I call it hangxiety the next day, if you have a little bit more of restlessness or racing thoughts, and then certainly interrupted sleep.
And what can people do then, ultimately, if they want to make sure that they are practicing safe consumption when they do choose to consume?
Sure. So we need to be careful about how we look at alcohol use. I look at it as a spectrum. And so oftentimes people say, well, I'm not an alcoholic, so it's not problematic. But really being able to look at how is it playing a role in your life? Is it helping or hindering? Can you take a couple nights off? Can you cut back and replace your drinking habits with a healthier coping mechanism, like going for a walk in between work and getting home to the kids and needing to switch roles and cook dinner and help with homework?
We talked about moms a lot. What about dads? And what can people do to support the folks in their life when they think that maybe the drinking is becoming a problem?
Thank you so much for saying that. It absolutely is dads as well. And I think that being able to say to somebody, hey, I've noticed you've been drinking more. I do have some concerns. Oftentimes people are afraid to bring it to light. And if we do just turn the other cheek, then it creates more problematic behavior as well as condoning the consumption.
Yeah, really important tips there. Licensed clinical social worker Kitley. Thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us. We really appreciate it.